Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wassalatu wassalamu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Welcome to our Tafseer lesson, Surah Baqarah, from verses 2 to 4, 224. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولا تجعلوا الله عرضة لأيمانكم أن تبروا وتتقوا وتصلحوا بين الناس والله سميع عليم. And make not Allah's name an excuse in your oaths against doing good or acting rightly or making peace between persons, for Allah is one who hears and knows all things. لا يؤاخذكم الله باللغو في أيمانكم ولكن يؤاخذكم بما كسبت قلوبكم والله غفور حليم. Allah will not call you to account for thoughtlessness in your oaths, but for the intention in your hearts, and He is oft forgiving, most forbearing. So now here comes another commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is about taking an oath in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, if someone is taking an oath to prevent himself from doing something good, and once it is said to the person, why you are not doing this thing? You have been doing something good. And he would say, oh, I have taken an oath. So the oath has become a means to stop doing something good. So that is the subject in discussion. And here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَا تَجْعَلُوا اللَّهَ عُرْضَةً لِأَيْمَانِكُمْ. Don't make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala an excuse for your oaths to stop you from doing something good, peace, and doing something of piety, or to making peace among the people. And it is reported as an example of such type of saying, a report from Sa'id ibn Musayyib, who is a tabi, a successor, that two persons, sons of a deceased man from Ansar, they got a dispute among them of miras, of inheritance. So one of them asked his brother that, give me my share. So the second brother said, if you keep on asking me about that share in inheritance, then all my wealth is to be spent in the maintenance of Al-Kaaba. Actually, he used the word fi ritaj al-Kaaba. Ritaj is just the to unlock the lock of Al-Kaaba. So Sayyidina Umar at that time said to him that Kaaba does not need your money. Just kaffir an yaminik. Now give expiation of your oath and speak to your brother, because I have heard the Prophet ﷺ saying that if you take a vow or an oath in the disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or to cut off a relation, or in something which you don't own, then this type of oath is not binding upon you. You should have to come out of that oath But what is the way to come out of the oath? That is given in Surah Al-Ma'idah. And before we go to the ayah of Surah Al-Ma'idah, let us explain these two ayats. So here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said three things. Three things, for example, أن تبروا وتتقوا وتصلحوا بين الناس. First thing is that because of your oaths, you don't want to do an act of piety or an act of taqwa or making peace among the people. So there is another incident, and that is of Abdullah ibn Rawaha. He became angry with his brother. Why? Because his brother has divorced his wife, and then he wanted to come back. And Abdullah ibn Rawaha was a mediator, but he did not like his brother to come back or to take back his wife. So actually, he wanted to make peace with his wife, and Abdullah ibn Rawaha got a different opinion. So it is said that this is one of the cases in which this ayah has been revealed. And of course, there are these ahadith of the Prophet ﷺ, which says that if a person makes an oath and then he sees something which is better for him to do, not the thing which he said in his oath, then what should he do? He should do what is good and come out of this oath by paying off this kafara, or by doing that kafara expiation. So that is the first ayah. And then the second ayah, which speaks about لا يؤاخذكم الله باللغو في أيمانكم. Allah will not call you to account for thoughtlessness in your oath. So there is an oath which is known as Yaminul Lagw. Al-Lagw is a vain talk, something which is not allowed for you to say. For example, the Prophet ﷺ has said that a person who is listening to khutbah on a Friday, the khutbah of al-Imam, and then he speaks to his brother, faqad lagha, then he has done something vain. His talk is a vain talk. So he has spoiled his Jummah because of that. La yu'akhidukum Allahu bil-lagwi fi aymanikum. So it means that which type of oaths are to be considered valid or not. These are those oaths which were done with the intention of your heart. وَلَكِنْ يُؤَاخِذُكُمْ بِمَا كَسَبَتْ قُلُوبُكُمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will hold you accountable for such type of oaths which were earned by your heart. وَيُشْهِدُ اللَّهَ عَلَى مَا فِي قَلْبِهِ, in Surah Baqarah as well, that a person is witnessing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, making Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the witness for all what is in his heart. So it means if something is coming out of your heart with the intention to do it, then it is going to be counted. But if it is just a vain talk, then sometimes a person is in a habit of saying Wallah, Tallah, but he got no intention, then it means that this type of talk or this type of oath is not counted, and you are not accountable for that. Now, to make it more explicit, let us go to Ayah 89 of Surah Al-Ma'idah. لا يؤاخذكم الله باللغو في أيمانكم ولكن يؤاخذكم بما عقدتم الأيمان. Allah will not call you to account for what is futile in your oaths, but He will call you to account for your deliberate oaths. فكفارته إطعام 10 مساكين من أوسط ما تطعمون أهليكم أو كسوتهم أو تحرير رقبة. For expiation, feed 10 poor persons on a scale of the average for the food of your families, or clothe them, or give a slave in his freedom. فمن لم يجد فصيام 3 أيام ذلك كفارة أيمانكم إذا حلفتم. If that is beyond your means, fast for 3 days. That is the expiation for the oaths you have sworn. وَاحْفَظُوا أَيْمَانَكُمْ, but keep to your oaths. كَذَلِكَ يُبَيِّنُ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ آيَاتِهِ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ. Thus does Allah make clear to you His signs, that ye may be grateful. But anyhow, let us be very careful about al-yaminul ghamus. Al-yaminul ghamus means a person is saying wallah, for example, to convince the buyer. To convince the buyer, he is saying wallah, wallah, this thing is such and such, or I have bought this object for such and such price, and I'm not taking any benefit from you, any profit from you. So such type of oaths where there is a lie involved, and a person is making that oath on a lie, then it is counted. That is al-yaminul ghamus. Al-yaminul ghamus, an oath with a lie in it. So a person, of course, he should free himself from that burden of al-yaminul ghamus by paying off this kafar whenever he remembers, because that is not at all acceptable that a person bases his sale upon a false oath. And of course, this is one of such things which are known in the Islamic Sharia, that if you have taken an oath and then you are not able to carry it out, then there is a way out. And that is do kafara and then do what you want to do out of such things which you promised not to do them. It was not in the Sharia of Sayyidina Ayub alayhi salam, because that is the story of Sayyidina Ayub and his wife. In that oath, because there was no kafara at that time, he has to carry out what he has sworn by saying that he is going to hit his wife for a certain amount of hitting or flogging. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him that he can, because he has taken an oath. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him that you have to fulfill your oaths, but take just a bunch of branches and do it at once. So this is how you can complete the number of the flogging which you have said in your oath. So anyhow, that is a relief which is given in Islamic Sharia. So that was the first issue, the issue of the oaths. Now we come to another issue which is also related to an oath. This is why it is mentioned just after this first issue. That is from Ayah 226 and 227. That is the case of Ila. لِلَّذِينَ يُؤْلُونَ مِن نِّسَائِهِمْ تَرَبُّصُ 4 أَشْهُرٍ فَإِنْ فَاءُوا فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. For those who take an oath for abstention from their wives, waiting for 4 months is ordained. If then they return, Allah is oft forgiving, most merciful. Ayah 227. وَإِنْ عَزَمُوا الطَّلَاقَ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ سَمِيعٌ عَلِيمٌ. But if their intention is firm for divorce, Allah hears and knows all things. The previous ayah, the end of the previous ayah, which we did not discuss, these are the two attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wallahu ghafurun halim. And Allah is forgiving, most forbearing. Ghafur, because someone has done an oath mistakenly, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to forgive. And Allah is halim, is forbearing, that He has made a way out for you by giving an expiation for that. Now, when we come to ayah number 226 and 227, that is about ila. Now, here we must know that these were the practices of Jahiliyyah, which were negated by this order, and then, of course, they have been regulated as well. So what was ila? A person in Jahiliyyah is going to take an oath that he is not going to approach his wife for an unlimited period. There were cases when a person has taken an oath for this purpose, to be away, not to approach his wife for the whole 1 year, 2 years. And that is going to, of course, inflict a lot of harm to the woman. So that was not acceptable. So this type of ila, which is coming from ala, and which is to take an oath, that was not accepted in Islam. So there was a limit which has been laid down here, and that limit is لِلَّذِينَ يُؤْلُونَ مِن نِّسَائِهِمْ تَرَبُّصُ أَرْبَعَةِ أَشْهُرٍ. These people should have to wait for 4 months. After 4 months, if a person says that I'm not going to approach my wife, it is not a limitless time. The farthest time is 4 months. If he has taken his wife before 4 months, then of course this ruling does not apply to him, because he has come to his wife within 4 months' time. And it happened in the case of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as well. At one time, he has done this ila with his wives. So, but he has taken them back after a month. In one report, it is said after 29 days, and 29 days, 29 nights, they constitute 1 month. So that was either for their discipline, because they were asking for more nafaqah, for more maintenance, or because of some other reasons. Anyhow, so that was the ilah of the Prophet ﷺ. It is said he might have an injury in his leg, because of that he did so, or because of their complaint of maintenance. Now, in case the person does not come back to his wife, then comes this question. As long as 4 months have passed, what is going to happen? فَإِنْ فَاءُوا فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ وَإِنْ عَزَمُوا الطَّلَاقَ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ سَمِيعٌ عَلِيمٌ. So if they turn back to them within 4 months' time, then whatever they have done, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to forgive them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is merciful. But after 4 months' time, they don't want to take them back, then there is no other way out except to divorce them. So here comes this ayah 227, وَإِنْ عَظَمُوا الطَّلَاقَ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ سَمِيعٌ عَلِيمٌ. And if they got their intention, a firm intention for divorce, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala listens and He knows. So Does it mean that the woman is going to be divorced automatically after 4 months' time? No, that is not the case. The case is, if the case is brought to a qadi, a judge, he is going to tell the person that either you take them back, take your wife back, or you have to divorce. You can't just leave your wife like this. You don't want to accompany her, you don't want to divorce her. She becomes mu'allaqa. She becomes just hanging. So this is why there is only one choice for him, and that is one choice out of these two, either to go back to her, or in azamut talaq, or to give divorce. And if he says the word divorce, فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ سَمِيعٌ عَلِيمٌ, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hears what he says. Alim, he knows what is his intention. And of course, it is very clear that a person should not take his wife if he just wants to increase harming her. Because what is needed here, that you take your wife if you want to reconcile with her or make peace with her. So these are those issues which were related to an oath. Now we comes to another issue which involves a period of time. Why? Because the ayat of Ilah, they also give you a time period of 4 months. So there is something similar to that, and that is the iddah period of a divorcee. So because of this similarity, the ayat of iddah, they come first here, and then comes after that the ayat of divorce itself, how to divorce. So let us take ayah 228. وَالْمُطَلَّقَاتُ يَتَرَبَّصْنَ بِأَنفُسِهِنَّ ثَلَاثَةَ قُرُوءٍ. Divorced women shall wait concerning themselves for 3 monthly periods. وَلَا يَحِلُّ لَهُنَّ أَن يَكْتُمْنَ مَا خَلَقَ اللَّهُ فِي أَرْحَامِهِنَّ إِن كُنَّ يُؤْمِنَّ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ. Nor is it lawful for them to hide what Allah hath created in their wombs, if they have faith in Allah and the last day. وَبُعُولَتُهُنَّ أَحَقُّ بِرَدِّهِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ إِنْ أَرَادُوا إِصْلَاحًا. And their husbands have the better right to take them back in that period, if they wish for reconciliation. وَلَهُنَّ مِثْلُ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. And women shall have rights similar to the rights against them, according to what is equitable. وَلِلرِّجَالِ عَلَيْهِنَّ دَرَجَةٌ وَاللَّهُ عَزِيزٌ حَكِيمٌ. But men have a degree upon them, a degree of advantage over them, and Allah is exalted in power, wise. So as we have said that because of that time period which is mentioned in the ayat of Ilah, there is another issue which involves the time period, and that is the waiting period of a divorcee after the divorce. So the first thing is, وَالْمُطَلَّقَاتِ, those women who have been divorced, يَتَرَبَّصْنَ بِأَنفُسِهِنَّ ثَلَاثَةَ قُرُوءٍ. They are going to wait for 3 quru'. 3 quru'. Now here comes this word, which is among those words which got 2 opposite meanings. So the word quru', which is the plural of qura', that is applied to menses, and it is also applied to the clean period of a woman. Both meanings are taken, and both meanings got the evidence behind it. And the interesting thing is that a number of Sahaba, the number of companions, they have taken the first meaning, around 3 Sahaba and 9 successors, which those people who say that the clean period is meant by it. And as far as the second opinion, there are around 12 Sahaba and around 19 successors who go for the second meaning, that it means the menses. Now let us take the evidence for both of them. We have this Surah Al-Talaq, which got a similar ruling, and in that surah we have the waiting period also for different type of woman, and also the way how a person should divorce. Now let us take the first ayah of Surah Al-Talaq. يا أيها النبي إذا طلقتم النساء فطلقوهن لعدتهن وأحصوا العدة واتقوا الله ربكم. O Prophet, when you divorce women, divorce them at their prescribed periods and count accurately their prescribed period, and fear Allah your Lord. Now here, before we go further, because we will come back to it, the main thing is فَطَلِّقُوهُنَّ لِعِدَّتِهِنَّ. When you divorce them at their prescribed period. That is the evidence that it means the word qur'an should mean the clean period, because a person has to divorce his wife if he is divorcing her in her clean period, not in the menses. Because the Prophet ﷺ very clearly did not allow a person to divorce in the menses of the woman. And that is the case of Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Umar. When he did so, the Prophet ﷺ asked him to take his wife back. So this ayah shows very clearly فَطَلِّقُوهُنَّ لِعِدَّتِهِنَّ, that you have to do talaq in that period which is counted in iddah. And it means as long as you have to divorce in the clean period, then it means that qura, which is one of the 3 qura, that is tuhur, or the period of purity for a woman. The other meaning, which is al-qura, which means the menses, the next ayah of the very same Surah Baqarah, وَلَا يَحِلُّ لَهُنَّ أَن يَكْتُمْنَ مَا خَلَقَ اللَّهُ فِي أَرْحَامِهِنَّ. It is not allowed for them to hide what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created in their womb. Now, how a woman is going to know that she is carrying, or she has conceived? Only by the menses. If the menses comes, it means that she is not pregnant. But if there are no menses at all, after the conception, she knows that she is pregnant. So it means that the menses are that factor which is going to tell the woman that whether she is pregnant or not. And this, which she wants to hide, for example, why this matter has been raised here. Once again, one of the Jahiliyyah practice, that a woman who has been divorced by her husband, and then she discovered that she is pregnant, she is not going to tell her divorcing husband that she is carrying his child. She would rather think that I should hide this fact from him, so when I marry the second husband, I could attribute that child to him. So which means that you would be attributing a child to someone who is not the real father of that child. Because we know that if a woman discovers that she is pregnant, then her idda period is not 3 months time, is not 3 menses, because she got no more menses. It is not 3 months, it is وَأُولَاتُ الْأَحْمَالِ أَنْ يَضَعْنَ حَمْلَهُنْ, in very same surah, Surah Al-Talaq. And those women who are pregnant, their idda is to deliver their babe. So their idda becomes up till delivery time. So this shows that al-qur', by qur', if it is menses, you know that the woman knows that she is pregnant or not. And there is this hadith of the Prophet ﷺ when he said to one of his wives, or one of the sahabiyat, da'i salata fi aqra'ik, leave praying when you are in your menses. So of course, when you are in your qur', the plural here is aqra'. So a woman has to leave the prayer during the menses, not during the purified period. So that supports the second opinion. Now, what is the consequence of that difference of opinion? If you just say that the word qur' means the purified period, then you can think that the idda period would be shorter than if you take the second meaning, which is menses. The idda period would be longer. So you can say, if you take the first meaning, you are giving more consideration to the woman, that she will come out of idda period within a shorter period. And if you take the second meaning, it means that you are giving consideration to the man, because the idda period would be prolonged. So he got more time to think and to take the wife back. How it is going to happen? If you take the first meaning, that al-qur' means the purified period, so as long as the man has divorced his wife in her purified period, then this tohar means the purified period, this tohar is going to be counted. So you can see that this tohar, and then there would be her menses, then comes the second tohar, menses, then comes the third tohar, and by the end of the third tohar, idda is going to come to an end. So how you are going to establish that the third tohar has come to an end? As soon as the third menses begins, the idda has come to an end. So the third menses is not counted here. Why? Because we have started counting the idda from tohar, that tohar in which divorce has been pronounced. And if you are going to count, if you want to say that the word qur' means the menses of the woman, then what is going to happen? A man has divorced his wife in the clean period. This clean period, according to this meaning, is not counted. It may be 7 days, it may be 14 days, it may be 21 days. That tohar is not counted at all. What is going to be counted? The first hayd, the first menses. After first menses, then tohar, then the second menses, then tohar, then the third menses. And as soon as the third menses comes to an end, her idda is going to come to an end as well. So in this example, you can see that the idda has been prolonged. Why? because first tohar is not counted, and you have to go to the end of the third menses. So this is how you can say there would be an effect of this difference of opinion in the meanings of the word al-quru'. وَالْمُطَلَّقَاتُ يَتَرَبَّصْنَ بِأَنفُسِهِنَّ ثَلَاثَةَ قُرُوعٍ. Let us also realize one thing more. Just to know that whether a woman has conceived or not, one mense is enough to determine it. So if a man has divorced his wife and then she got her menses, it means that she is not pregnant. But if there are no menses at all, he would know that she has conceived. So just one menses is enough to determine it. And that is the reason that in khula, when a woman is asking for divorce, that is the discussion which is going to come after this ayah. In the cases of khula, the iddah period is only one qura. It is not three qura. It is just one qura according to the authentic ahadith. Because in khula, the woman herself was asking for talaq. So there is no need for the man to take her back, because there would be a divorce in exchange of the dower amount paid by the woman back to the man. So there is no ruju here. The man can't take her back within the period. So one qura was enough to determine whether she is pregnant or not. In the case of proper divorce, why three quru are declared? Because three quru is around 3 months' time. So you can say that the first qura, that was to determine whether she has conceived or not. And the other 2 months, or the other 2 qura, they are added to give more time to the man to think, to reflect whether he wants to take the wife back or not. And these extra 2 months are only for this purpose, the purpose of ruju, the purpose to take the wife back. وَالْمُطَلَّقَاتُ يَتَرَبَّصْنَ بِأَنفُسِهِنَّ ثَلَاثَةَ قُرُوءٍ وَلَا يَحِلُّ لَهُنَّ أَن يَكْتُمْنَ مَا خَلَقَ اللَّهُ فِي أَرْحَامِهِنَّ إِن كُنَّ يُؤْمِنَّ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ. They have already explained this ayah that it is not allowed for them to hide what they are carrying in their wombs, if they are really Muslim. Because in kunna yu'minna billahi wal yawm, if they believe in Allah in the last day, that means that if they are believing women, then it is not befitting for them to hide what is in their womb. That were the women of Jahiliyyah, who were not believing women. They used to do that. But you, as Muslim woman, as believing woman, you should not do that. So if a woman knows that she is carrying the babe, then she must disclose it. So the iddah period is to be prolonged until she delivers that babe. Now here comes the next issue, which is related to talaq. وَبُعُولَتُهُنَّ أَحَقُّ بِرَدِّهِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ إِنْ أَرَادُوا إِصْلَاحًا. Their husbands got more right to take them back within that period, in aradu islaha, if they want to make peace. So here it says that those women who are in the state of iddah period, the waiting period, in that period they are still got association with their husbands. Because the word bu'ulatuhunna, their husbands, they got the more right to take them back. It means they are still their husbands. Their marital relation has not come to an end, or their marital link has not come to an end at all. The word bal itself, it is used for a master, Sayyid. The person who owns something, that is also Baal. And it was a deity in Jahiliyyah period for some people. They used to have like in the case of the people of Ilyas alayhi salam, where these people, they used to, when he said to them, "Atad'una ba'lan," you people, you invoke the name of Baal, you call upon Baal. That was the name of their Lord. وَتَذَرُونَ أَحْسَنَ الْخَالِقِينَ, and you leave the best of the creators, means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So even here in that name of a deity, the word Baal is used because the deity is their master. So now this word which was used now in Arabic language does not necessarily means that the very same meaning at all, because the word Baal is used for the husband, just to show that even after divorce, during the iddah period, he is still her husband and he got the right to take her back. Now the word, when he says وَبُعُولَتُهُنَّ أَحَقُّ بِرَدِّهِ, he got more haq. A haq is a superlative degree of al-tafdeel. He got the more right to take them back. So it shows that the woman got some right as well, and the man got some rights. And we know that in a matrimonial matter, there are few things or few rights which are in the hands of the man, like divorcing, like taking the woman back. In the very same way, to maintain the woman, that is also a duty upon him. On the other side, the woman got some rights as well, as we are going to know later. Here it says that as far as taking her back, that is a right of the man. He got this right, and there is no point to consult the woman in that case, because if he wants, the only condition is in aradu islaha, that they can take them back if they want to make peace with them, sulh with them, reconciliation with them. That should be the intention, not to take the woman back and then try to harm her. وَبُعُولَتُهُنَّ أَحَقُّ بِرَدِّهِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ إِنْ أَرَادُوا إِصْلَاحًا. So Radd also shows that their relation, their matrimonial relation is still existing. Now they are cut off from each other, but by taking her back, she would come once again to the very same status which she held before this divorce. So the word Radd is to bring someone back to its original position. In the very same Surah Baqarah, وَلَا يَزَالُونَ يُقَاتِلُونَكُمْ حَتَّى يَرُدُّوكُمْ عَنْ دِينِكُمْ إِنِ اسْتَطَاعُوا. They will keep on fighting you, حَتَّى يَرُدُّوكُمْ, until they return you back from your deen, if they were able to do that. If these people were fighting you, and if they got the ability, they would try to turn you back from your deen. So before Deen Islam, they were kuffar. So they want you to become kuffar as well. وَبُعُولَتُهُنَّ أَحَقُّ بِرَدِّهِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ إِنْ أَرَادُوا إِصْلَاحًا. That was the issue which was related to the waiting period, iddah period, and the permission which is given to the husbands to take them back within the iddah period. Now comes a general advice, a general commandment. وَلَهُنَّ مِثْلُ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. The women, for them are the same rights, مِثْلُ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِنَّ, equal to what they owe to their husbands. Bil ma'roof, in a ma'roof way. Now what does it mean? وَلَهُنَّ مِثْلُ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. With this condition, وَلِلرِّجَالِ عَلَيْهِنَّ دَرَجَةٌ. But for men, there is a rank of advantage over them. Wallahu azizun hakim, and Allah is exalted in power and wise. Walahunna mislu. We have to see that in a matrimonial relation, there are few things or few haqq which are given to the man and few haqq which are given to the woman. There are a few things in which they have to consult each other. And without consultation, they can't keep on carrying with this marriage. We know about in the matter of suckling the babe, there is a consultation. وَاعْتَمِرُوا بَيْنَكُمْ بِمَعْرُوفٍ in Surah Talaq. And also, if a woman has been divorced completely and then she wants to get back to her previous husband, once again, her consent is required. And this is another issue we are going to discuss later. And there are so many other things as well. But all these things are attached with this word bil ma'roof, in a ma'roof way. Ma'roof is opposite of munkar. Munkar, something which is rejected by the people. Rejected by those people who got intelligence, who got aql. That aql which is not spoiled by desires, by some traditions. That intelligence which is pure. So you can understand, yani, for example, in all societies, nobody would say that hitting your parents, that is something good, that is maruf. No, they would say that is munkar, that is bad. So this maruf is known sometime with your own aql, with your intelligence. With your intelligence, sometime it is known by Sharia itself. Because if Sharia has declared something good, then it is good. And if it has declared that it is not good, it is bad, then you have to take it as bad. And we got this example about the liquor and the gambling. يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْخَمْرِ وَالْمَيْسِرِ قُلْ فِيهِمَا إِثْمٌ كَبِيرٌ وَمَنَافِعُ لِلنَّاسِ وَإِثْمُهُمَا أَكْبَرُ مِنْ نَفْعِهِمَا. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given his ruling about the liquor and the gambling, recognizing that there may be some good in them, but their sin is greater. So this is why they should be avoided. So Sharia is going to explain what is good and what is bad. In the very same way, when it comes to the deviance of the obligations and duties between man and woman, Sharia has explained. There are cases when a wali of a woman, I mean the father, who is allowed to wed his daughter, even if she is not adult, if she has not attained majority. And Islamically, he was allowed to do that. But of course, it depends upon the circumstances and upon different cultures. So, but that was a privilege which is given to him. On the other hand, she got the right, if she has already attained her majority, the age of majority, she got the right to accept the proposal or to reject the proposal of a marriage. And there are so many cases of this nature during the time of the Prophet ﷺ. So that is another haqq which is given to her. وَلَهُنَّ مِثْلُ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. And it is also known that as long as the man, الرِّجَالُ قَوَّامُونَ عَلَى النِّسَاءِ بِمَا فَضَّلَ اللَّهُ بَعْضَهُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ وَبِمَا أَنْفَقُوا مِنْ أَمْوَالِهِمْ. As long as the men got this obligations to maintain their wives, to give them dowry amount, in the very same way it was expected from a woman that she would be a housewife and she would be responsible for the housework as long as the man is the breadwinner. So this is how they have to divide their role. So this difference of the role, that is something very, very natural. A man cannot take the role of a woman and vice versa. The woman who has to suffer because of pregnancy, because of delivering, because of suckling the babe, all these duties which are only given to the woman. So there should be a different role for the man as well. And this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ended this ayah by saying, وَلِلْرِجَالِ عَلَيْهِنَّ دَرَجَةً. And for men, there is one daraja, one rank above them. And that is the rank which is of al-qawwamiyya. الرِّجَالُ قَوَّامُونَ عَلَى النِّسَاءِ. They are the maintainer of the woman. That is this daraja. In Arabic language, there are two words for going on steps. If you are going upward, that is daraja. If you are going downwards, that is daraka. Daraka, and its plural is ad-darak. And it is said in the munafiqina fi ad-dark al-asfali min an-nar. Munafiqin, hypocrites, are in the lowest step, or the lowest stage, or the lowest level in the hellfire. So going upward is called darajat, because it shows that you are in a state of going to an elevated height. And daraka is to go downwards until to reach your destination, which is idrak. So this is how these two words are given interpretation in Arabic language. The end of ayah is Wallahu Azizun Hakim, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is exalted in power and wise. So all what is given to you in these ayat of Al-Quran, that is coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is Aziz and who is Hakim. So you don't think that it is coming from someone who got no authority at all, who is not wise at all. No, it is coming out of wisdom, out of power. We may take a part of the next ayah in the remaining time, the ayah number 229. الطلاق مرتان فإمساك بمعروف أو تسريح بإحسان. The divorce is only permissible twice. After that, the parties should either hold together on equitable terms or separate with kindness. That is the first part of this ayah, which we can cover in the remaining 5 minutes. At-talaqu marratan. What does it mean? We have always go to the background of the ayah. Once again, it is to nullify a practice of Jahiliyyah. In Jahiliyyah, in the pre-Islamic era, in Arabia, the Arabian people, they knew about the marriages and they knew about the divorces as well. But they were not doing it properly. Even in the matter of marriages, there were so many types of marriages which were not approved by Islam at all. Here is the question of the divorce. A person who wanted to inflict some harm to his wife, he divorces her. he divorces her, and then he takes her back after a period of time, and then he divorces once again, and then he divorces once again, and always he takes her back within a set time of periods. It could be so many times. So the poor lady is not released from him at all. Now, this practice of harming the woman in this way was cut off completely by this ruling. At-talaqu marratan. Divorce, which could be revoked, that is only 2 times, not more than 2 times. At-talaqu marratan. It does not mean that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that you have to, whenever you do talaq, you do talaq twice. No, this is not the meaning. The word marratan, marrah, marratan ba'da marratin. It means that each time, because marratan means twice or 2 times, which means that each time's got its all conditions attached to it. When we say that the prayer is 5 times a day, we know that each prayer is to be done in its time. So if you are praying, for example, Zohar prayer for today, you can't say that, let me pray Zohar prayer for tomorrow as well, for day after tomorrow as well. Even if you do it, that would not be acceptable from you at all. Only the first prayer, Zohar prayer, would be accepted from you because it was done in its due time. The other 2 prayers, they will not be sufficient for you to avoid the prayer in your next day or the day after that. So whenever the word marra is used, which shows that there is a complete procedure for that marra, for that times. It should be a complete procedure. It is also reported that Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas has said, in the case of a person who is saying talaq, talaq, talaq 3 times, and then he says, oh, I have done 3 times. He says that it is just like a person who says that I have read Surah Baqarah 3 times. Actually, he read it only once, but he says that I have read it 3 times. Why it is not accepted from him? Because 3 times means that you have to read the whole surah from beginning till the end. Then it will be 1 times. And then you will come back once again. That will be the 2nd time. Then you have to come back the 3rd time. Then it would be 3 times. You can't just reading few ayat of Surah Baqarah. You can't say that I have read Surah Baqarah 3 times. So in the very same way, talaq, giving talaq, that got some conditions, that it should be during the purified period of a woman. And after this talaq, you have to leave her to pass her iddah period. And iddah period is given to you, to the man, to take her back if he wants to. Because this is something which is very, very serious. You have to treat your marriage on a serious note. You can't just finish it by just saying talaq once or twice or thrice, even once. You can't finish it so easily. When you say it once, it should be followed by an iddah period. And within that iddah period, you are given the chance to take the wife back. If it is 3 months' time, the person has to think a lot, reflect about the consequences of this divorce, especially if he got children as well. So he should be given that cooling period during which he is able to take his wife back. So once this procedure is complete, he has taken the wife back, then they start their marital life once again. Then comes the question of the second talaq. It may be after a year time, after 2 years time, after 10 years time. That would be second talaq with the same procedure followed by the iddat period. Suppose he divorced and then he has taken her back. Now 2 talaq have been exhausted. Now comes the procedure of the third talaq, which is going to be discussed later, after which he is not allowed to take her back. This is what this ayah is saying, at-talaqu marratan. Divorce is twice. That divorce which can be revoked, it is only twice. So you can revoke your divorce first time, and then you can revoke your divorce a second time as well, but not at the third time. At-talaqu marratani, that the divorce is only permissible twice. فَإِمْسَاكٌ بِمَعْرُوفٍ. So it means once we have divorced the woman, then during the iddat period, فَإِمْسَاكٌ بِمَعْرُوفٍ, either you retain her in a good way. Again, the same word ma'ruf, which means arruju. أو تسريح بإحسان, or you let her go in a good way as well. Look at these two words. فَإِمْسَاكٌ بِمَعْرُوفٍ, retain her in a ma'ruf way. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَعَاشِرُوهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. When you live with them, treat them in a ma'ruf way, in a good way, the way how a husband should treat his wife. So the word ma'ruf is used for retaining them. And if you don't want to take them back, then let them go. It means that by the end of iddah, this talaq will become binding. And that is tasrihun, but tasrihun bi ihsan. Do it with ihsan. Ihsan here means doing something good at the end. And this is, here comes the question of mut'ah. Mut'ah means mumatti'uhunna ala al-musiri qadaruh wa ala al-muqtiri qadaruh. That give them some gifts at that time, according to the status of the man. If he's a rich man, he can give more. If he's a poor person, according to his ability. So this ruling of mut'ah, that comes under ihsan. In the same way, even when you are parting from her, you have to part with good words on your tongue, and not in a very harsh and vulgar way. So that part of this ayah, alhamdulillah, we have covered it. And the remaining part is about al-khula, which inshallah we will touch in our next lesson. Sallallahu ta'ala ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.